Revolution.
Back for another one. Just thought I'd get on because I'm doing them more. I'm doing videos more frequently now. Like I say, I've got my energy back. I'm feeling like energized, refreshed. You know what I mean? My cup, it runneth over. It is flowing. You know, the energy is flowing in my way, and you know, I'm in a very happy, energetic, and positive. And you know, obviously confidence is at an all-time high. Just feeling good because I know what's coming. You know, but I won't talk too much about what's up ahead. But I will talk about sort of like my vicinity, my surroundings, and the numbskulls who reside within my area of, you know, my village, my county. It's filled full of people who are not self-aware, right? Like smug, like people who are not self-aware. Their awareness is just their brain power, their logic, their capacity for logical, critical, and lateral thinking is well, it's just. I'm trying to put it in an unprofane way. It's gone to the slaughterhouse to be slaughtered. You know, it's gone to be stunned in the back of the head. It's just unreal. So we've got Stalker Jones, who's driving around in a Mercedes that she can't afford because she's on benefits. She claims incapacity benefit. Now that could be because you've got some kind of physical ailment which physically prevents you from doing that, but no, she hasn't got that. You know, she's able to get up early in the morning from a barely sleepless night that she had the night before. You know what I mean? To get in a car and drive around like a fucking moron with a smug look on its face. Like, is that smug look because you think you've gotten away with something? Because I just need to point out something, a glaringly obvious point here, right? You are, on the scale of things, a huge irrelevance, right? You're just a slimy opportunist, right? Who was in for who was just in for the money. You just wanted a new car, which you've now got, that piece of shit box standard Mercedes that you drive around in with your boy racer upholstery, and you know what I mean. All you need now is just to put your Go Faster stripes on your shite car that you got with my money. It was paid for with my money. So basically you're driving around in my car that I paid for, right? Because you jumped on the bandwagon with a bunch of paedophiles, had sex with them because you're a deeply wounded female, right? Who hates men. That's why you've been single all your life. You're a man hater because you make epically poor choices in the type of mail company that you keep, to the point that they treat you very badly because they're also wounded individuals. And like all wounded individuals, you flock together, like birds of a feather, flock together. So shit sticks with shit, shit attracts shit. And you are, without a doubt, shit. You're a meaningless speck of dust in an otherwise high-profile case, right? So you're driving around in your white Mercedes, paid for by yours truly, because you collaborated with thieving paedophiles who got jealous because I was left an inheritance by my family, who was not my actual family that raised me, and somehow they deem themselves better because they nonce kids, they steal things, they commit fraud, they embezzle finances from their job and funnel it into a fraudulent account set up by a bank manager who could be an Ashkenazi Jew, who's not a Semite, by the way, to launder that money through my account in order to set me up. But here's the thing. Where's your actual evidence of me being in the picture? All it is just you clowns, right? Slightly moved off topic here. So this fat paedophile who thinks she's just so fabulous. I'm so fabulous. Yes, I'm just the biggest, fabulous, dirtiest, STD-ridden prostitute that embezzled finances from my job, Atom Banking, online banking service, and funneled that into a fraudulent bank account set up in my name for my personal details that you stole in order for you to embezzle finances into that account and then launder that money in an attempt to set me up. But where is your actual evidence? Because when you do the background, right? When you do the background, there's no CCTV footage of me coming at this bank, because I believe you've done it at a bank that I'm not actually have an account at. So therefore, you're going to need me on camera, right, at this bank, dealing with this bent fucking bank manager who potentially is an Ashkenazi Jew, right, who isn't a Semite. He hails from Ukraine in his genealogy. Potentially, yes. That's a part of your cult or coven or secret society that not only does that to me, but to other people as well, what you've been doing for a long time, right? That you've went around trying to make out that I'm already dead because you were so confident that you could kill me, that you could then take out a life insurance policy. Was it also set up by this Ashkenazi Jew? Or is it somebody else? Because, or is there more than one? Do you know what I mean? Because, you were so confident that I would be dead by now. I should have been dead over fucking 3 years ago. You were so confident. And you got a whole community on board, a whole bunch of fucking retards that do nothing but smile at us like fucking gimps now, or give us the soft doughy eyes, Red Sonja. Oh, I've got such doughy eyes. It's like, no, you haven't, Red Sonja. You're a fucking alcoholic, a drug addict, and a fucking slut that flogged your mutton for cash to stalk and spy on us and report back to paedophiles. And now you want to, like, when you look at us, you want to look at us with doughy eyes, like, oh, feel sorry for me. I'm a victim in all of this. It's like, no, you're not. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew exactly what you were doing. And you took that fucking money and you ran. And you got on board with a bunch of fucking paedophiles who were hell-bent on attempting premeditated murder in order to steal from me an inheritance as well as a life insurance policy, and that you would all share from if you all collaborated together, because, strength in numbers. Was that the fucking spiel? Strength in numbers. And that you would, like, all benefit when they divvy out the rewards once I shuffled off my mortal coil, yeah? But, well, that hasn't happened. And this fraud had been committed in 2001, so it's like 4 years, almost three that I know about, but 4 years in total. Yeah, 4 years in total this has been going on, and you've all been running around thinking like that I don't know anything, and that I'm so naive and so gullible. Just like, what I let you know and what I actually know are two different fucking things. If I want to treat you like fucking imbeciles, like immature children that don't know any better, which turns out to be actually true, then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to fucking humiliate you. And I'm going to take you all down. And you're all going to go down. But getting back to Stalker Jones, look, you are a mentally unstable female who was on incapacity benefit for mental health problems, right? You are not in a financial position to be driving around in that motor vehicle you are currently driving around in, right? And you purchased that vehicle before the sale of your yellow VW Beetle, or VV if you're fucking German, because BMW is BMW apparently. But anyway, right, it's fucking a W in English, right? And you do not work, right? You do not work. You drive around all day in your car, around in fucking circles, like the crazy bitch that you are, right? And you are an insignificant, docile female, gold-digging slut who quite happily took cash payments and signed a non-disclosure agreement to try and approach me on behalf of some fucking secret tranny from Ukraine to try and romance us and cause problems for us. But like, you know, I would have to be actually attracted to you. And well, last time I remembered and last time I checked, I blew you out when I was 13. That was a long time ago, because I knew you weren't right in the head then, and that you are not an attractive individual with a black heart and a well, you've sold your soul. Do you know what I mean? And so no, you disgust me, you cheesy, crusty minged, bisexual female who likes to, you know, have intimate moments and scissor with other destroyed, soul-broken females who like to swing both ways like a pair of fucking saloon doors or a cat flap, right? With paedophiles. I mean, anything goes with you fuckers, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It's just like, as long as you're getting paid to give you that like cushy bit of life, that's all going to be taken away from you, by the way. And remember, I'm still living and breathing, and I've got a story to tell, and everyone's going to know who you are. Everyone. There's going to be documentaries. There's going to be, well, I'm certainly going to write a book, and everyone's going to know who you are, and everyone's going to know this area where I'm from, and the inhabitants that reside within, right? I can hear a doggy barking. So, you can look smug, right? Again, are you looking smug because like you're an informant? You're grassing on the people who you collaborate with? Or, well, what I was getting a strong sense of as well, are you smug in the face because you're blackmailing the people you once worked with? Because I'm telling you now, that will not end well for you if you are blackmailing. Because, well, let's face it, you're already, all of your team collaborated to try and take me out for money. What's to stop anyone doing exactly the same thing with you as you drive around in another person's car with a smug look on your face that says, I'm insignificant. I am merely a speck of dust on the greater scope of things. Because you're insignificant, and you will be dealt with in due course, but there's bigger fish to fry, you know what I mean? You're just a nobody driving around in a car thinking like you're somebody, but you're not. Because if you were somebody, okay, without trying to blow my trumpet too much, if you were somebody, right, you wouldn't have an old community that all teamed up together to try and take me out for money, land, resources, you know what I mean? And you wouldn't like sign non-disclosure agreements with paedophiles and government. You know what I mean? Become their slaves. You know, become their patsies. And you've got all kinds of fucking shit held over your head as well, haven't you? You know? Because you're being blackmailed as well. You're just a stooge for a society that treats you like a fucking zombie. And there's clearly something wrong with you, because there's days you've got this look of fear in your face, and then there's other days it's like you've got this smug look on your face, as if like nothing's going to come of it, or that you've somehow cheated the system and that you will face no repercussions. You will not be accountable for your part that you played in this fucking shambles of a setup that went horribly wrong and not in your favour. So by all means, you drive around in your piece of shit car with your boy racer upholstery, because you're clearly a female heavily in your masculine energy. You don't, like, because you're dead inside, you don't actually have feelings or emotions or empathy. You're just apathy. You're just a worthless narcissist who is just a money-hungry slut that isn't prepared to work hard for a living. You're just a benefit scrounger. You're on incapacity benefit for mental health reasons because you've always had mental health problems. You've always been a broken woman that's never learned how to heal her childhood traumatic wounds. And so, don't worry. You're irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, but it will get back to you and you will be taken down and you are going to prison. Every single one of yous who was in that group chat conspiring to try and bring harm to me for the sake of fucking money, because you're greedy, jealous, pathetic excuses for human beings, sellouts essentially, who couldn't even walk a mile in my shoes. You couldn't even do what I've done. You're too busy looking on the outside and not seeing what I've had to go through, or, what I've had to put up with, what I've had to deal with from fucking psychopaths like yourselves who have no awareness. They're just self-absorbed, worthless, and pitiful excuses for men and women. And that's all you are. You're just useless. You're just a worthless oxygen thief driving around in a car that was paid for with someone else's money and not your own. So yeah, you will always be irrelevant. You'll always be useless and you'll always be worthless. And everyone's going to know who you are and what you've done and who you teamed up with. And let's face it, when you go to prison, on your out just with everyone else that you conspired with in your group chats, when you're screenshotting things that I'm posting or uploading, and you're going into your group chat thinking like, because it's encrypted, that prying eyes from third parties outside of the group aren't watching and secretly recording and downloading everything that you're saying and doing. And like all professional detectives, right, who are very talented individuals, especially the people who are in the upright, they don't get in these positions because they're fucking stupid and backwards and lack self-awareness like you. No. People who investigate crimes, right, people who are like higher up, they're not just some fucking retarded constable on the beat, some fucking runt, you know what I mean? These detectives, man or woman, both, right, are intuitive, right? They have the same gift as myself, and they know when they're talking to somebody by body language, by your mannerisms. There's telltale patterns that make you either a good person or a bad person or an in-between person. They know because they've had to deal with many people throughout their career, and it's like everything else. You learn how to read patterns, you learn how to read mannerisms, you learn how to read whether someone's telling the truth or telling a lie by mannerisms, by your expressions, your micro expressions, your reactions, your body language, right? And you are no exception. But like all top detectives, investigators, right, they know what you're doing, they see what you're doing, they know what you're about, so they allow you to continue committing crimes because they know you lack self-awareness, right? So they allow you to continue doing what you're doing thinking that you're never going to be stopped, because you're ignorant people who constantly live in ignorance permanently. And because you're not getting your own way, especially with arse crack and camel toe, because you're not getting your own way, you're having all kinds of temper tantrums, you're having all kinds of bitch fits, right? You are completely losing your shit, right? Because the game isn't playing on the easy setting for you, all right? It's not playing on the easy setting. You're getting pushback after pushback. I'm getting win after win after win, back to back, right? And it's driving you insane. It's literally, it has driven you insane, right? Nothing you do works. I'm constantly having to repeat myself and telling you that nothing you do works because you are so brain dead, because you are like a robot, a zombie, right? You're just a program executing an attack that you've been programmed to do relentlessly. You don't have the capacity to think in hindsight or foresight. You are impulsive creatures who are just conditioned in the mindset of winning by any means necessary, and you will do anything and everything to win by all means necessary. And so these detectives are watching you commit all these crimes in full knowledge and in full awareness of who you are, what you're doing, and that case just keeps getting higher and higher and higher, to the point where they make sure that you go to prison and you never ever get back out ever again, right? And this is something you are not realizing, because you have constantly, and I mean, I'm sure you've gotten away, well, especially fucking ass crack, over 30 years you've been getting away with all kinds of fucking identity theft. I mean, because as soon as like your dad died from alcoholism because he drank himself to death, you got a credit card out in his name after he died. Identity fraud. Yeah, and then you're doing all kinds of fucking scams with the gyros, and I'm sitting there watching that fucking arsehole that you were married to, that you still are married to, but he's getting married to somebody else. But we all know you've got a Ben Judge who signs marriage certificates for the right price. Do you know what I mean? So like your whole lives is just one big fucking sham. Anyway, but yeah, like that arsehole that you were fucking married to, that's all in on it as well. But he's trying his best to look like innocent, because all fucking narcissists cannot be accountable, and they always go into victim mode, you know what I mean? But like that arsehole, that fucking prick, you know, he was doing the gyros with his fucking scalpel and these like fucking transfers, scratching off one fucking amount and then re-entering another one, and getting fucking Jackie the Mule to go to different post offices around the northeast to fucking cash these gyros before everything became like digital, you know. So mid-90s until whenever, you know, the post office start learning, so they start creating like accounts for money to go into that you can, you know, like a bank, you know. And like he's doing the cunt in front of me, as if like I wouldn't know what he's doing, or like, you know, like we're dealing with stupid fucking people, right? We're just dealing with stupid fucking people who have no awareness. They lack self-awareness, right? It's like one of the other arseholes who hangs around the corner shop with Bill and Ben, the Bottommen, the Pet Shop Boys. Do you know what I mean? They all get together to have a bitch fest, slag us off and all that. And one of them, like, he's so irrelevant, right? I don't even know his name. Like another fucking idiot, the gay rager who like lost his shit. He rides around on a fucking bike. He's a skinny Biafran. Looks like he needs a good fucking feed, or he's borderline anorexic. Possibly got fucking AIDS. Yeah, he couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag, but he's got a gob on him. Do you know what I mean? Like, they all the same. They've all got a gob on them. And this one's no different. Like, he's always on the catch for fucking tabs, and please, I stopped. But he's out. Well, it's nicotine. It's an ongoing battle. You've just got to persevere. But at the moment, nicotine free until I relapse again. But like, I'm not perfect, right? And nicotine's a fucking evil drug. But like, if that's my only fucking vice, I'm not doing too bad. But yeah, so like, he's a fat dumpling, right? He's a fat dumpling, fat dollop of shite. He's like a bag of shite with a piece of fucking string tied around the middle. He's not the brightest of people, right? Don't know his fucking name. Not interested in knowing his name. He's just a fucking arsehole, right? And he's always... He can only be a gobby cunt. It's like a few people. They only gobby cunts when they know they've got someone backing them up. Because you take away that backup, like they go quiet. They go deathly quiet. In fact, sometimes they don't even say anything. You know, they just look away. You know what I mean? And this fat cunt's no exception. And so, right. It's like these e-bikes are all the rage now, you know what I mean? It used to be like fucking 50cc, 125s, petrol 2-stroke, 4-stroke, things like that, you know what I mean? Like Suzuki XR250s, like motocross, things like that, you know what I mean? When I was young, I used to like things like that, but like these e-bikes have like seem to have taken the place of like petrol 2-stroke and 4-stroke motocross, off-roads, or road bikes, you know? And like these, and some of them, like when apparently if you de-restrict them, they, like a 50cc or a 125, you used to take out the restrictions, it would go a lot faster, you know? And like these e-bikes, like the same. And like there's a lot of these like people riding on e-bikes, they wear this like fucking, it's like a balaclava, right? But they're trying to hide the face, right? And while that may work on someone who doesn't know you, right? Who doesn't know your shape of your body, right? Because you know, when you know someone, they have a certain shape, they have a certain manner, and just because you like, it's like a balaclava where there's like the eyes. Do you know what I mean? And he's just a fat cunt, you know what I mean? I know the shape of his body, I know how he moves. It's like you see when you've been in an area with people in your surroundings, right? You get to know how they move, you get to know how they react. You get to know people, especially if you know how to read people. And I know how to read people, so it always makes us laugh when they think they smug, or like they think that they're getting away with things. Before I go on, like, you realise, right, I'm ahead of the game. So when I talk about things, or if I'm given prophecy, it's because it hasn't happened yet, and you have to wait until it catches up. And trust us, right? These things are happening now, just like they've all, like arse crack and camel toe have got incurable STDs, and they're slowly dying, and they're all alcoholics, right? And they're all drug addicts, and they're heavily in debt, right? And they're running out of money. And so if they've been like, so if either arse crack and camel toe, or both of them, are being blackmailed by Stalker Jones, right? Which I'm gathering they are, because that cunt's driving around with a smug look on its face, as if like nothing bad's going to happen to you. It's like, you're a fool. You're a damned blind fool who lacks self-awareness or critical thinking or any kind of discernment. You know what I mean? Like, you are fucked, but you're so insignificant. The clapback will be delayed, do you know what I mean? Because we've got bigger fish to deal with. And that's why these detectives are out here watching these fucking mindless drones running around like headless chickens, committing all kinds of fraud, committing all kinds of crime, because they think it's going to set me up. But what they don't realise is they've already had me under investigation through the lies that they've told, in the hopes that it would get me arrested. That hasn't happened, right? And because they haven't got like the common sense and the foresight to learn what happened in the past, you know, hindsight, they have none of that. They're just programmed to do one thing and nothing else. And so they keep doing the same thing that they've already done on fucking repeat. No lessons. They can't even learn the tiniest of lessons. They can't see any flaws in their fucking, what they perceive to be flawless plans. Right? And so these detectives who they think they're smarter than, just sit back and let them run around like the fucking idiots that they are, committing all kinds of crime, and let them pile up while communicating with daft cunts like you. So these detectives, right, are watching you blackmail these fucking people that got you on board to take part of premeditated attempted premeditated murder that you're a part of, and every other fucking clown. Because apparently there's 7 people at this time running around using my ID, committing all kinds of fucking fraud, right? And because you all communicate with each other in this fucking group chat, the people who have got you under investigation, you know, the silent investigators watching you make your plans, right? They just letting the fucking crimes pile up because they know it's you. Because at the end of the day, you've already had me under investigation. Right? You've already had me under investigation. They already know I'm fucking innocent. And so they turn their attention to you because they realise you're fucking liars. Like, you know, like I'm constantly having to fucking reiterate how fucking stupid you are. And why nothing's happening to me. And everything's going to happen to you. And that I'm so fucking far ahead of what's coming. Like, you know, it's like a delayed reaction. But it's going to fucking hit you, and it's going to hit you hard, like a fucking freight train, like I've already fucking said. Right? And it's going to hit you hard. All of yous, every single one of yous. This village is going down. It's fucking going down. And there's nothing you can do. Every single one of yous that took part, every single one of yous who fucking jumped on in the group chat, that's fucking dozy fucking bungalows, out the back of me, bungalows 1, 2, 3, and 6, right? You fucked, because you're all got on board, and you're all communicating in the group chat, and you all had assignments that you fucking failed miserably at, like Steptoe and bungalow number 2. That cunt's been committing all kinds of fucking fraud that the detectives know about, that you're going down for, right? And you might be like all jovial when people go, oh hiya, how are you doing? Alright, yeah, ooh, fucking boo boo boo, right? Thinking that you're getting away with something you haven't, right? Because you like bungalow 1, 2, 3, and 6, you are also insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Because this goes up to some big fucking players. You Josie bastards haven't got a fucking clue just how fucking big this operation is until it all blows wide open. And to the fucking type of people that are involved. I mean, YouTube is just one massive cult, right? And, like, right? We'll just move on to YouTube now, right? The reason you haven't had anything done to you yet, YouTube, right? Is because you're an international company, right? So you have content creators all around the world. So you're paying people money all around the world. And so your level of fucking fraud, deception, and money laundering is on a world scale. Right? Your fucking money laundering is fucking legendary. And you've got all kinds of fucking tarot readers involved that you've approached and bribed to like put out fucking partially true and partially fucking false evidence. And these fucking tarot readers are constantly fucking insulting Asscrack and Camel Toe and other people, like calling them fucking dumb. When at the same time, right, they haven't got a fucking clue. They literally haven't got a fucking clue. Like, I'm not going to go too deeply into it, right? But like, anyone, right? Like these people, right? Right. I'm not going to divulge in what I know, but like, put it this way: like these paid readers, right, who are putting out content just for fucking likes and views, buying fucking subscribers. You can create fucking tarot decks. It doesn't mean you're a good fucking person. It just means you're a fucking fraud. That's part of a fucking cult, because there's loads of fucking readers, right? Because there's a light and the dark, right? And then you've got readers for the light and you've got readers for the dark. Right? And there's a lot of fucking tarot readers on YouTube that's being paid by a fucking loose. Right. So the video went off there, like, because it's getting the good piece. So, right, yeah, there's a lot of tarot readers, right, on YouTube who are getting paid by a Luciferian cult, right? And the investigators who are investigating this cult, who are investigating YouTube, right, realised, right, just how fucking deep this fucking conspiracy goes. That it's, you know what I mean? It's huge. It's on a world scale, right? You've got corporations, you've got the government and private sector, you've got corrupt politicians, right? You've got corrupt law officials, you've got corruption on all levels from the top down, right? Right? And that's why YouTube hasn't been exposed yet, but it's coming, right? Like I say, I'm a prophet, right? When I tell you YouTube's going to fucking fall, and it's going to be plastered all over the news, it's going to be plastered all over the news, because you've fucking attacked the wrong people, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have, right? You can't make this go away, right? You can't make me go away. It doesn't matter how much you try to censor the fucking internet. You are all use corrupt politicians, all use fucking corrupt doctors and nurses, lawyers, police. You're all going to fall, and you're all going to be removed from your positions, and you're all going to do time, and you're all going to get beaten to death from inmate in prison because of who you are and what you've done, right? And including presidents and prime ministers, right? You're all fucking corrupt. You all serve the same person. You're all under the thumb of the same corrupt entities, right? And it's just all coming apart, right? Because you targeted the wrong people. You listened to fucking idiots who said that they could carry out and execute a job that they knew fine well that they couldn't do, that you knew fine well that they couldn't do, but you allowed them to do it anyway. Because at the end of the day, all you're after is like souls, isn't it? It's like, that's the whole point of Lucifer, the Satan, you know what I mean? It's all about collecting souls for the underworld, for hell, and you'll get them by any means necessary, and you'll try and like tempt them, because it's all about temptation. You'll tempt them with all kinds of riches and fame and fortune if you do this one job, if you do this, that and the other. But then, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you just corrupting souls, and you get them to do all kinds of fucking depraved acts, even if it means like defiling young children, destroying innocent souls for fucking nefarious deeds, because you're angry at the Creator, because you cast you out of heaven for being the egotistical fucking pricks that you all are, and you deserve to be cast out, because you, like the rest of them, you never learn your lessons. You can't even learn the smallest of lessons. Petulant children who cry like little babies and have little bitch fit temper tantrums when you can't get your own way. And you're not going to get your own way. I don't care who you are, or how big your bank account is. When you're for God, right? Forget about your money. Forget about the perceived illusion of power that you think you obtain. It's all going to fall. This whole system's going to crash. You know what I mean? And myself and others are here to ensure that happens, because we are, whether you're religious or not. I mean, I'm not a particularly religious person, but like, if you wanted to put these events in terms of biblical scale, then yes, we'll be having to write a new Bible chronicling new events of what's happened in our time, because the current Bible is almost being fulfilled. Now, I'm not condemning the Bible, don't get me wrong. It's got some good stuff in there, but the Bible is an incomplete truth, right? And there's all kinds of fraudulent Bible scholars try to condemn the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Enoch, the Gospel of Thomas, and things like that. So, it's not biblical canon. So but I tell you why it's not biblical canon, right? Because at the end of the day, the Bible is a system of control. Religions are a system of control. They're all owned and controlled by the moneylenders. You know, the Vatican is under the control of the Jesuits, who are the Knights Templar, who are the moneylenders, the Khazars, the Ashkenazi Jews, who are not Semites but hail from Eastern Europe and Northern Turkey and Georgia, you know, things like that, which they try to keep quiet about, you know. And then they rage in this war in Palestine, and like, especially Ashkenazi Jews. I'm not talking about Sephardic or Hasidic. I'm just specifically talking about Ashkenazi Jews. They are not Semites. So this whole anti-Semitism charade is just that. It's a joke, because they're not Semitic. They're not Semites. They don't hail from that region, nor will they ever. And they just, well, they're obtaining the land of Palestine because of the natural resources of oil and gas.
Gaza is rich, gas rich, at least 1.4 trillion cubic feet rich, to be precise. But there's a catch.
Geologists and natural resources economists have confirmed that the occupied Palestinian territory lies above sizable reservoirs of oil and natural gas wealth in Area C of the occupied West Bank and the Mediterranean coast off the Gaza Strip. To date, the real and opportunity costs of the occupation exclusively in the area of oil and natural gas have accumulated to tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
Back in 1999, the Palestinian authorities signed a deal with British Gas. Just off the Gaza coast, they struck it lucky, and 2 wells were drilled. That's Gaza Marine 1 and 2. It was a multi-billion-dollar gift from God, an economic boon both home and abroad.
This is one of the key messages here today. There will be gas available for export. And from my conversations with Palestinian officials, including President Arafat, it is clear that they have no interest in just sitting on a gas surplus.
Fast forward to 2007, Hamas comes to power and Israel launches an offensive on the Gaza Strip, leaving behind 1,400 dead Palestinians, but taking with it the gas fields. Now, within the year, Israel announced the discovery of the Leviathan natural gas field, which did include Gaza's riches, all in all valued at $453 billion. Now, since then, Gazans haven't seen a shekel, or to be more accurate, they have been denied around $47 billion in revenue. As for Tel Aviv, well, it's gunning to become a new hub.
This is a historical moment in which the small country of Israel becomes a significant player in the global energy market. The Memorandum of Understanding will enable Israel, for the first time, to export Israeli natural gas to Europe. And it is even more impressive looking at the significant set of agreements we signed over the last year, which position Israel and the Israeli energy and water sectors as a key global player.
Let's just run through this then. At that moment in time, so we're talking 2022, Russian oil and gas was sanctioned. Iranian oil was sanctioned. Syrian oil fields were, and still are, illegally occupied by US forces. Now, the key port of Latakia was being bombed by Israel, and the port of Beirut, the gateway to the Middle East, lay in ruins. Enter this small country of Israel right here with its seas of gas, its working ports, an answer to Europe's problems, and perhaps, most critically, the US blessing. Because in case you didn't know, US Congress has decided that Israeli energy is in the highest national security interests of Washington. So DC was only too happy for Tel Aviv to become a key global player. After all, it had itself previously mulled over ways in which to make its 51st state a window onto Europe.
Another interesting application of nuclear excavation would be a sea-level canal 160 miles long across Israel, connecting the Mediterranean with the Gulf of Aqaba and thus the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. Such a canal would be a strategically valuable alternate to the present Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal is a gold mine. It connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean via the Red Sea. It is the link between Asia and Europe. Every day, almost 3 million barrels of oil, 8% of global LNG, 50 ships, $9 billion worth of cargo, 12% of global trade all pass along this right here single canal. Remember in 2021 how a container ship ran aground in the Suez? Global trade was brought to its knees. The alternative route via the Cape of Good Hope adds around 9 days and 7,000 kilometers to the journey. There is no replacement for the Suez Canal, except perhaps for the Ben Gurion Canal. Now, what the US had been thinking about back in the 60s was dropping 520 nukes on parts of Israel, all to build a 260-kilometer-long canal that would start at the Red Sea down there in the port city of Eilat, run through the Negev Desert, and pour out into the Mediterranean. Where exactly? Right next to northern Gaza, the same northern Gaza that is currently being bombarded and depopulated. Egypt and its money-making Suez Canal would just be sidelined. The same Egypt that, rumour has it, is now considering taking in refugees in exchange for debt relief by the US. And if you think it's crude of me to talk business during times of an existential war, think again.
The winning companies have committed to unprecedented investment in natural gas exploration over the next 3 years, which would hopefully result in the discovery of new natural gas reservoirs.
In recent weeks, Tel Aviv has handed out 12 new licenses to 6 companies, on top of the plan to tap more of the Gaza marine resources. This area is a strategic gold mine. The Israelis have their largest foreign base down the Red Sea, just off Eritrea. And here a bit further down, Beijing has a naval base in Djibouti, a key piece in its enormous global infrastructure project, the Belt and Road, hated by London, Brussels and Washington alike. Always ask yourself, cui bono, who benefits? Because war is horror and war is hell. But never forget that war, above all else, is big business.
And that's why they're trying to create a new channel, like the Suez Canal. They're trying to create a new one because there's huge gas reserves off the coast of Palestine, as well as being huge oil reserves, and they're just moving the people of Palestine from that region to create the Great Israel Project, which will also stretch all the way back to, guess where? The Ukraine, which is another breadbasket of Europe and natural resources and lithium and things like that.
What did Trump do to get the weapons flowing? He created a loan system. They're sitting on $10 to $12 trillion of critical minerals in Ukraine. They could be the richest country in all of Europe. I don't want to give that money and those assets to Putin to share with China. If we help Ukraine now, they can become the best business partner we ever dreamed of. That $10 to $12 trillion of critical mineral assets could be used by Ukraine and the West, not given to Putin and China. This is a very big deal how Ukraine ends. Let's help them win a war we can't afford to lose. Let's find a solution to this war. But they're sitting on a gold mine. To give Putin $10 or $12 trillion of critical minerals that he will share with China is ridiculous.
From fertile fields to some truly colossal mining operations, the land, the soil of the Donbass is incredibly rich and giving. But if there's one resource that Europe and Germany in particular would love to dig into, that would be lithium. If the EU could, it would have eagerly colonized a planet rich in lithium deposits. Renewable energy, electric vehicles, consumer electronics, these markets have become the pillars of the European economy. And all these markets are dead without lithium.
Everybody wants to get access to lithium. This is maybe why they call it the white gold, because it is like a gold rush. It's this atmosphere. Wow, I have to be in this game. There is almost no company dealing with raw materials that is not looking into lithium. It's just too attractive.
Lithium und seltene Erden.
Lithium and rare earths will soon be more important than oil and gas, and our demand for rare earths alone will increase 5-fold by 2030. On the one hand, that's a good sign because it shows the pace at which we are making progress with the European Green Deal. The only problem is that one single country currently dominates almost the entire market. We must prevent ourselves from becoming dependent again, as we are now experiencing with gas and oil.
Germany has a particularly strong appetite for lithium. Its auto giants like Volkswagen, the BMW, Mercedes-Benz are wrestling hard for their share in the electric vehicle market. Siemens is a leading provider of renewable energy and is relying heavily on lithium-based energy storage solutions. Bosch has a major market share in automotive components which require this metal too. But shipping lithium from Latin America, where most of its reserves are, makes it truly precious in the books too. The prospect of a discount is enough for some German politicians to bang the drums of war.
If Ukraine disintegrates, the follow-up costs will be much greater than if we go in much stronger now. And if Europe wants to complete the energy transition, it needs its own lithium deposits. The largest deposits in Europe are in the Donetsk-Lugansk region. That's why Russia also wants them, to make us dependent on the energy transition with a view to electric motors.
Donbass lithium reserves still haven't been fully explored and evaluated, but the estimates are more than promising. Also, what they lack in quantity, they make up with quality.
There were 4 lithium deposits in Ukraine, 2 in the Kirovograd region, 1 in the Zaporozhye region, and 1 in the Donetsk Republic. The Sevchenko deposit in Donetsk is the most promising of all 4 because the ore is richer and thus the production cost is cheaper.
This reserve is still under Ukrainian control, mere kilometers from the front line, which is creeping towards it. Another deposit is in the part of the Zaporozhye region controlled by Russia.
What are the advantages of our lithium deposits? The fact that they are actually on the surface of the earth. No need to make a mine. It's very difficult when you need to go down for 130 meters, 200, 250, and so on. And here everything is on the surface.
The lure is sure strong for Germany, given it already considered these deposits within reach.
Germany and Ukraine work jointly on enhancing energy efficiency, promoting modernization of energy infrastructure, and expanding the use of renewable energy. The energy partnership addresses vital issues like the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and the energy sector transformation.
This will work in the usual way that Western big corporations will take over Ukraine, whether it's farmlands, whether it's mining resources or whatever. So the Western countries sooner or later will have to say, sorry, the money is gone, Ukraine is bankrupt, or Ukraine even doesn't exist anymore, who knows. We have seen this with the, what is called in English, the Black Earth, so this very, very rich Ukrainian farmland, which the IMF wanted to be privatized also to Western companies. In Ukraine, the majority was absolutely against it. Zelensky's government, by the way, together with the votes from Poroshenko's party, gave green light. So the sellout of Ukraine is already going on. And this is just the question which decision will be done.
After the 2014 revolution, several German and European companies managed to strike lucrative exploration deals, all lined up at the starting line in a race to drill and excavate this soil into depletion, like they've done before.
Germany is desperate on getting resources because what Germany faces now is that relying on their buddies in the US, it is cut off the most important raw materials in the world. They did not only cut off the energy supply and made us pay triple the normal price for energy, they also restrict us from the supply of all the necessary raw materials for the electro industry or the electro vehicles and so on. So basically destroying German economy. Germany does not have own raw materials, so they are desperate in finding areas where they can get the raw materials from.
The US and Europe have been pouring billions and billions into Ukraine at the expense of their own citizens and economies, while Kiev refuses to see the truly colossal elephant in the room. Nothing comes free. Amiga Zhdanov, RT.
You know, you just follow the money at the end of the day, and they're all for like stealing resources and invading other countries for their resources. Like I was saying about Libya, the same went for Iraq. Like everyone, like they see it because the media is controlled by the moneylenders. They pay them to keep quiet about topics that will cast them in a negative light. Yeah. And so exactly the same with Libya was the same with Iraq. You know what I mean? It had free healthcare, free education, free social housing. You know what I mean? The people of Iraq were living a very comfortable life. And considering that Saddam Hussein was this tyrannical dictator, they seem to have a good life. You know what I mean? Free education, free healthcare, free social housing. But the media portrays him as a diabolical dictator. But then we go in and liberate Libya in Iraq, right? Mainly the Americans liberated Libya, but obviously the UK's was part of the liberation of Afghanistan and Iraq, right? Just to steal all their resources and a whole host of other things, bombing their land, destroying their way of life completely, leaving them embittered, penniless, and with nothing from having free healthcare, free education, and free social housing to poverty, and having an interim government controlled by the Rothschild banking fraternity, and since they don't worry about money because they just print it, like the fucking organised criminals that they are. They just print it. So they can continuously wage wars and countries. So there's North Korea that doesn't have, I don't think Russia has anymore. I think they got them out because they're in debt to the Rothschilds until they paid off the debts and removed any Rothschild banks. But South Korea doesn't, Iran doesn't. You know what I mean? They're the only countries now that doesn't have anything to do with the Rothschilds. And the same countries that, guess what, are under attack. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. But I thought I would get that out, because whenever the video cuts out, it's because they don't want me to get a message out. But it's never going to stop us. I'll never stop getting the message out. You can try and censor people as much as you want. You will all be outed. All you prime ministers, politicians, all of you who favour paedophilia, all of you who are just corrupt. Because at the end of the day, the UK, all the experts, all the forecasters, you don't really need a prophet to tell you that. But civil war is definitely going to come. Civil unrest is coming, and by Christ, these corrupt prime ministers and politicians are doing everything they can to try and force that by the way they're treating us. I mean, the Cloud and Piven strategy is in full effect in the UK, because you have everyone coming from the Middle East through Europe and to the UK. They're all put in 4- and 5-star hotels. They get £49 a week in payments. They get free meals. They get free healthcare. They get free phones. Everything's pretty. They get free swimming lessons. Free learn. You know what I mean? Well, if you come to this country, you should learn the language anyway. But you're getting all kinds of free language lessons, right? Everything's for free, right? And that's coming out of the taxpayers' pocket, right? The people who are working hard to pay tax. The people who've seen stagnation in the wages. There's been no rise, no significant rise, and the cost of living just skyrocketing, right? And they're trying to blame Brexit for that, right? But the thing is, right, we had the whole psychological operation known as COVID, whereby there was no productivity, right, from the years 2020 to 2022, just essential, right? So you had no productivity, and this is happening all around the world, right? And this is happening especially in the West. Inflation, due to lack of productivity, has caused everything to skyrocket. Like in Canada, definitely in Canada, especially in metropolitan areas within each country, you know what I mean? But inflation is on the rise, and we're having to house all of these boat people coming from other lands, war-torn lands that we did, full of hate, right? And the only people who are coming, by the way, are men of fighting age, right? And it's right. And the more they drive down wages, the more they inflate the cost of living, housing. You know, that's another thing, yeah. There's more houses getting built for asylum seekers who allegedly are fleeing war-torn countries, but it's only men, no women or children. And when you see them coming over in the boats, again, it's only men of fighting age. Right? So yes, it's going to put a huge strain, not only on the UK, but in the Western world. And people are going to get tired, and it's going to create civil wars throughout the West. Because of these people who are because it's what you think the government don't know what they're doing. They're not in control of their choices. They're all compromised because they're all part of secret societies, right? Secret societies who engage in paedophilia, and so they're all caught on camera, nonsense kids, and so they blackmail them, right? And they leave them with no choice but to comply with their outrageous demands. And there's not a decent person in Parliament that will do a single thing about it. Because, you know, the Bank of England, the finance section, the business square mile is separate from state. Like the Vatican is separate from state. In Washington DC, the District of Columbia is separate from state. So finance, religion and war. And it's all controlled by the money lenders, the Jesuits, the Knight Templars, the Khazars. And so how do you take back control? Well, it's simple, really, when you think about it. Those who control the money supply control the world. So whoever's in control of the money supply controls things. Doesn't take a genius to work that one out. And these money lenders have controlled things for far too long. And change is coming. And in divine timing. And chaos is coming as well. Because like all dictators, their worst fear is losing power. That's why they want more power. So they need to be reduced of that power because they're not worthy of being in that position of power. Because they are corrupt individuals who just want to destroy things, invade other people's countries, destroy their way of life, destroy their culture. Just take all the resources, dry that country, drain it until there's nothing left, and then move on to the next. Parasites, basically have parasites, paedophilic parasites ruling the world, and it's time for change. And that time is coming, it's soon approaching, but it's like one step at a time. You've got to just keep chipping away at it, and you need people like me to keep speaking out, to keep standing up, to keep fighting in order to see change prevail. But on that bombshell, I think I'll leave it there, and I'll be back again with another one at some point. So yeah, I'll see you later.